there we go.
Then we had the thing that baffled me maybe more than anything. Roman Reigns comes out. And
this was baffling.
On paper, you want this to be your next guy. And so somebody wrote down on paper, let's have Roman Reigns go out and do a 10-minute history promo about his feud with Bray Wyatt. And then, when everyone is sufficiently bored to death, let's have him do a singles match with Braun Strowman, which will also go like 8 minutes.
They went 8 minutes. Can you believe that?
I have defended Vince so many times when people say Vince is clearly out of touch, but when I saw this segment, this was not something where you watch it and you're baffled. This is something where how could you write this down on paper and think it's a good idea?
Agreed. But, it could be more than just Vince. I mean, obviously, you can't absolve Vince because Vince is the final editor of this. And the idea that Strowman's going to do an 8-minute match with Roman Reigns on television, not a good idea. The idea that they're going to put Reigns out there in that promo situation, plus the poor guy, the crowd was not having it. And, the promo was too long. Shouldn't have gone in that direction. The whole thing is that they wanted to make it very clear that, which we already know, we've talked about, that the whole idea of anyone but you is that Bray Wyatt's job is to keep Roman Reigns from winning the championship. Anyone but you. Okay? Which they never exactly said, but they kind of did come close to saying it.
You explained this back in July. And at the time, I thought, if this is their plan to get Roman Reigns over, because in July, you thought this was going to go all the way to WrestleMania. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. This is the worst idea. And nobody is buying this. Nobody.
No, it hasn't helped him at all.
Not one bit has it helped him.
Okay, but this is, I presume that as far as the Bray Wyatt thing goes, hopefully, and it may not be, I'm thinking like Hell in a Cell's a blow-off, and then you go in a new direction. I don't know if that's the case.
They have to.
But I'm thinking I thought the new direction would be Strowman, which is still the Wyatt family and the same type of promos. But I was absolutely baffled that they would do the Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman singles match now on television. I thought that was for like months down the line.
Oh, please no.
When Braun Strowman was a little bit better of a wrestler and he, destroyed people a little bit more. It's like, so Braun Strowman doesn't get pinned. Okay, so there's a little bit left. But he really, his monster status took a hit because he did lose. And the match was long enough that we don't really want to see a rematch.
No.
This was just it's like he wasn't so terrible that he was Great Khali terrible. Okay.
No. By the way, did you see the Great Khali's commercial?
No, I didn't. I know of it, but I didn't see it.
Oh, man, I'll send it to you after the show. It is the best.
Yeah, I don't understand why they put Strowman in this situation to have this match and have him have to sell and go back and forth.
Forget Strowman. Who cares? They put Roman in this situation.
Well, the idea was he's going to beat Strowman. I mean, I get that.
Be a count out?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's their idea is that he gets the win and the other guy, well, we didn't really pin him, so there's still something left. I mean, I get that mentality of it. I just thought that
I don't, because nobody takes count out seriously. It's just another lame finish to 99% of fans.
Yeah, well, I just thought that it was too long, and this match shouldn't have taken place for a long time, and maybe in a tag, but not in a single. And I mean, it was the long interview. I mean, the people crapped on the interview. They were chanting boring, which first they're doing the what, and he's trying to kind of get his way through that. And then they started with the boring, and then he starts protesting to them, which is exactly what you don't want the babyface to do, is protesting to the fans.
They're chanting
this
boring.
Is real life.
Yes.
And it's like, it's not real life. Yeah.
They're chanting boring, and he tells them it's not boring. And I was like, that's your comeback? It's not?
He's not John Cena.
No, I mean, he's not.
They have got to figure this out, that like, okay, number one, it's a real stretch to make him the face of the company. No matter what, it's just, it hasn't worked ever since they tried. Okay. But they're bound and determined. Okay. booking him like he's John Cena. I mean, he doesn't have John Cena's wit. He's just not John Cena. He's something different, and he needs to be someone who's a lot quieter, and his interviews short and to the point. John can do long interviews. I mean, as far as matches go, short and to the point, especially against somebody who's green. It's pretty strange.
So yeah, they did the promo. It sucked. They brought out Braun Strowman. They had the 8-minute match, including a long nerve pinch. That's what this match needed, was a long nerve hold. So finally,
well, I think that their mentality was that we can get away with that because it's Chicago.
Oh yeah,
so I do believe that.
Well, their mentality was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but still, if I had seen this on a piece of paper and it was just like these guys going 8 minutes, I don't care. Number one, it doesn't matter because it's TV. But I would have just said you got just the idea that if somebody put Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman on a piece of paper for a singles match right now, I would just say, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. We're not, we're just not ready for it. 8 minutes, that's even worse. Long interview, no. Why this all happened when he's the guy, they're clearly not trying to sabotage. I mean, that's the one clear thing. Man,
yeah, this was supposed to help the guy.
Man, I don't know. It was...
So anyway, he ends up outside. He gives a Superman punch to Luke Harper. He gives a Superman punch to Braun Strowman, which actually, I will say, this was almost worth it because he gave this guy this punch, and Braun Strowman, who the whole gimmick is he's never been taken off his feet, he gives him this running Superman punch, and Braun Strowman leaps high into the air to do a nesty plunge over the announcer's table. It was preposterous, but it was awesome. And then they get counted out, and Roman wins. Bray challenges him to a fight against all three, and Roman doesn't want to do it, so he punches Bray as Bray is yelling, "Follow the buzzards." That was kind
cool.
of worked.
That was cool. That was kind of cool. I like that
Yeah.
because you didn't see it coming. Yeah, that was nice.
That did work better than I expected. I will say that. And that was it. He walked away, and all I thought was, dude, just give up, turn the guy heel, give him a run for a year, and see what happens then. Because this babyface thing ain't working.
Yeah. I mean, and the whole thing that again, the problem is like he's like the face of the breast cancer commercial that they put on, and they just got so much going with him. I mean, they're just trying to make him into the new John Cena, and you really, with that as your goal to get him over, that this is how we're going to get him over, you can't turn him heel right now while doing this. The problem is that, again, trying to make him the new John Cena with the charity stuff, he's just not that guy. I mean, he can be there and all that, but it's forced, and people. I don't think people look at a guy in that position. And I mean, look at. I mean, I think John Cena's living proof of this. That people will, no matter what John Cena does, there's a large percentage of the audience, especially the TV crowd, that's booing him anyway. And I mean, they've done everything with every storyline in the world. He's just, this do-gooder and real life heroic guy and everything like that, and they still boo him. For Roman to then, for the idea that we're going to get our next guy over by being him, but he's not as good as him in any way, shape, or form. He needs to. It's like you need to change the plan. I mean, he shouldn't be. I mean, even if John Cena was like super over babyface, like he's at the house shows on TV every week, you still don't copy the formula for the next guy that you did for the previous guy.
No, it never ever works ever.
Yeah, because people have seen it. They need it's got to be something new that's going to get over. And it's like this is what you do. This is the formula for top babyface. And when the one top babyface is done, we plug a new guy into that same formula. And you're right in the sense that if you look at history, that never works.
Never. I can't think of one time where a top guy has been replaced by
a clone.
A clone. Never.
I'm sure that because of history that you could probably come up with something somewhere. The fact that I can't very easily tells you it's pretty darn, man. Uh,
Dave Meltzer stumped.
no.
That should tell you something.
No, I mean, you can kind of make the argument that Pat Patterson was very similar to Ray Stevens. But they really weren't. But they were both blonde, and they both were really great workers. But they really did have a style difference, and you know. But here it is kind of like, well, we had this, one half of the Blonde Bombers was the big star for years and years. Then he left, and then they replaced him with his tag team partner, who was. But still, they really weren't the same. But there were similarities. I'm trying to think of somewhere where you, man, there's nothing, nowhere. I mean, like just other than like the AWA where they had the same guys on top for 100 years.
that did them wonders.
Well, no, they did. They had a good time standstill promotion. That's years and years ago. But I mean, yeah, if you're talking about like modern stuff, like that actually worked, like the Hulk Hogan really worked, and then even if we're going to say Bret or Michaels, they were very clearly not like Hogan. I mean, Luger was, and it obviously was a failure. And then after that, we had Austin, who was nothing like the predecessors. Rock was nothing like the predecessors. And then John, who was really nothing like any of those guys either. They were all very different. Yeah, they don't even learn from their own history. I mean, because and forget about all this. Because again, when we do that list, the fact is we're not talking about the failures, the Kevin Nashes, the Lex Lugers, the chosen ones.
This is about success.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the PG world champion, and this is what we do. Yeah, it's weird. It's Vince too, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like, of all people, he's been around forever.
Well, this guy's been around on top for a decade now, so maybe he's long since forgotten.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not getting too encouraged by this conversation.
No, I'm not either.